Hello, I'm Cindy Arenberg-Seltzer, President and CEO of the Children's Services Council of Broward County. Welcome to another edition of Future First, Focus on Broward's Children. In addition to providing funding and resources, the Children's Services Council also advocates on behalf of Broward's children and families. Often, though, the best advocates are the youth themselves. Thanks to partnerships with agencies like the YMCA of South Florida, Florida's Children First, and OIC of South Florida, at-risk students are getting the opportunity to become leaders and get their ideas heard by their peers, as well as elected officials at the local, state, and national level. Here to talk about these youth-run, youth-led programs are Reiter, Government Affairs Manager at the Children's Services Council of Broward County, Robyn McLymont, Director of the Youth and Family Division at OIC of South Florida, Kerry-Ann, Executive Director at the YMCA of South Florida, and Geori Berman, Florida Youth Shine Coordinator at Florida's Children First. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for coming. Geori, I want to start with you because I have had the opportunity to see the young people at Youth Shine in action. So tell us first a little bit about Youth Shine, what it is, and what Florida's Children First is.
Yes, absolutely. Florida Youth Shine is a youth advocacy organization for current and former foster youth to advocate for positive change within the system of care. We were founded by Florida's Children First, which is a nonprofit organization that's dedicated to advancing advancing at-risk youth and the child rights that come with that. Specifically, we were formed, Florida Youth Shine, as the youth experts. We believe that our youth are the experts in the system because they've been through it. So we empower them to share their voice and share their stories. We learn about the issues that are in care, and they take those issues and they talk about them locally at their meeting, and then they bring them statewide. We have 4 quarterly meetings before we head to Tallahassee, which is at Children's Week, and then all throughout the year, they take those issues that they're advocating about statewide, and they speak with legislators. They educate the community. They speak with media. They're empowered to be change agents for their brothers and sisters that come after them in the system of care.
You guys do a great job preparing them. I have been in legislators' offices with those young people as they tell their stories, and while there's certainly emotion in it and it's their lives, they have learned a way to communicate that is so incredibly effective. I have never seen legislators get it as well as they do when those young people are telling their stories. It's truly a great job that you do. And we've seen a lot of changes happen in the foster care system, and specifically in that aging out system, thanks in large part to your young people. Good job.
Thank you. Yes, we pride ourselves on that. And like I said, they go through and they work so hard before they go and they speak with legislators or they speak at a training. They go through weekends of trainings. They learn public speaking, leadership development, how to speak properly, how to dress properly, all while talking about the issues that they all face together. So because they're so passionate about it, they're able to speak so great to when they're speaking about these issues.
And one of the wonderful things is that it really is leadership development. It's not just about getting the laws passed, although that's fantastic and does change lives subsequently, but also I've seen them be transformed through that kind of training, which is also the idea behind the YMCA Youth and Government program. I loved seeing those young people, how they came back. Sadly, I didn't get to see them in Tallahassee, but I saw the effect of that leadership training on them. Tell us a little bit about that program, Kerry-Ann.
The YMCA Youth and Government program has been around for decades. Locally here in Broward, we started our chapter 3 years ago, and since then it has exploded. We've grown exponentially each year to the point that this year we took 52 young people to Tallahassee. This program is unique in the sense that we create local mock government, that this delegation eventually gets to Tallahassee and create a state government system and replicates that in Tallahassee. I think what you mentioned in terms of it being about youth development, about leadership development and giving those 21st century skills is really what it's all about. Wonderfully, the kids get engaged in things that they're passionate about. It's about project-based learning, which we know kids own their learning when they're really engaged in something they're excited about. And that's what has been so special about youth in government is when you say youth voice, youth led, you really have to get out of the way of that. You have to allow them to choose the issues they're passionate about. You have to allow them to march the march and put advocates in front of them that will educate them and get them even more excited about it. So when you pair project-based learning, local civic engagement, and mentoring, you just create a powerhouse of young people who just want to do more and more.
I really loved, we had 2 young people come before the Children's Services Council. There are adults who get intimidated coming before the council.
Oh, they were not intimidated.
And they were amazing. A young man straightened himself up, looked everybody in the eye, and spoke eloquently. And the young lady who started out saying, I was shy. I had a speech impediment and I didn't want to speak. And she just put it out there very appropriately, really beautifully. And then there was a photo voice exhibit also that went with that, the kids taking their pictures. Talk a little bit about that.
So one of the things we really wanted as we create a platform for them to share their story year round, we wanted to create a product that they could share with others to tell their story in a meaningful way. So we asked them to take their own pictures and to put their voice to their experience in youth and government. And as they came back, they went through a process of selecting their photos. They worked with the Broward Main Library, who, by the way, gave us the equipment to take to Tallahassee, and have worked through the makerspace in the main library to produce these pieces. They're still working through more of their pieces, and then they put their voice to it. One of our board members, who works with Young at Art, came and worked with them to decide on what is it that you're trying to convey in this message and in this picture. So as they chose their pieces and they selected what they wanted to share, they created an exhibit that the CSC has given us a wonderful opportunity for them to, again, have a new platform to share their work. We're hoping that at the end of May, they'll have a large exhibit at the main library in that exhibit space, in which we will invite our legislators, our local advocates, volunteers, local leaders, their parents, their fellow students, their principals who are so proud of them, to come share their journey and to help them to develop their story for next year.
And as they walked me through the exhibit, it really was a journey. It was really beautiful to see how they developed and how they really saw themselves develop.
Absolutely.
Very powerful, which is the point of the OIC program, really, to that voyage of self-discovery and self-advocacy and sharing, right? Tell us a little about that.
Absolutely, Cindy. Back in 2010, we were able to start with a teen pregnancy prevention grant through the Department of Health and Human Services. Through that grant, we were able to really engage young people in middle schools and high schools to the point where they were clamoring to hang out with our educators after classes. They were very passionate about the idea of teen pregnancy prevention, STI, HIV/AIDS prevention, and wanted to know what else can we do. They wanted to be able to be vocal in their schools and in the community about the need and about what youth needed to do in order to stop the epidemic, in order to focus in on their education and prevent teenage pregnancy. So through that kind of organic interest that the youth had, through the program, we were able to set up a youth leadership advisory group. And we were able to get 25 youth from the various high schools where we provide the teen pregnancy prevention program to meet on a monthly basis. Initially, the youth came together. They talked about issues related to their high schools and how they could get the message of teen pregnancy prevention out to their peers. We trained the youth in the federally approved evidence-based curricula that our educators use, and they became certified teen pregnancy prevention educators, who then in return went out and began to educate their peers. The youth also worked with Hands on Broward to do volunteer initiatives within the community on a monthly basis. They participate in a 3-day youth leadership retreat every year, where they are challenged to do some physical activities that really push them beyond their limits. After they are able to complete those activities, we talk about how these challenges coincide with some of the challenges that they experience at the school level, in their homes, with their friends, and some of the pressures that they experience, and how they can take what they've now accomplished and overcome and take that back into the community and into their schools so that they can have a bigger and better voice when it comes to making a positive impact on teen pregnancy prevention, HIV/AIDS, STI prevention.
That's awesome. You know, one of the things that I think is in common, one of the many things, is holding the children up to high expectations. You know, they really want to live up to the expectations that you set. And I think so often there's not enough expected of our young people, especially those who are at risk, who maybe those in the foster care system, there's an expectation that, oh, they're never going to amount to anything. We don't do that here. We know all of our children can succeed, and I really applaud you for pushing them and giving them the opportunity. Actually, in some cases, you don't even have to push them. You have to just give them that opportunity to lead. And Ryan, part of your role at the Children's Services Council, because we never do anything in a hands-off way, we're always in there getting our own hands dirty, you're helping to train these young people, correct?
Well, absolutely. And you know, the main thing that these three programs do in our community, not just embracing our youth, but they're empowering them, you know, to be champions of change, and that with that, they're igniting their passion for advocacy, not just with themselves, but with others. And so it's really makes my job a lot easier when I'm training youth advocates, but it's just really exciting to see like what the future holds for these bright minds.
You were up in Tallahassee with the Youth in Government young people, correct?
I was, and that was something very, very exciting for me to see. Just them championing their own bills, like they were talking about controversial issues like guns in the classroom, guns on college campuses, and they were expected to take this debate and not debate people, but debate ideas. And so whether they agreed with it or not, they went ahead and they championed that cause, and then the other side would go ahead and champion the opposing view to it. And it was just great to see how collegial they can be about it without, you know, we have in our federal and state and local governments sometimes it's not so collegial. So it was really, really great to see.